Welcome back to the Dr. Jim Cares podcast. My name is Dr. Augustine from Ahead to Wellness, and today I'm going to be talking about the vagus nerve. Vagus nerve stimulation. So let's get into it. We're going to be talking about where it is, what it does, and so much more. Great topic. Love this topic. Very excited about it. So where is it and what does the vagus nerve do for you? First, it starts in the brain, in the hypothalamus in the brain. And it has branches that form what's called cranial nerve number 10. So it's a cranial nerve, goes down, and it has other branches that go throughout and controls and regulates your body and organ systems. Amazing thing. It's part of what's called the autonomic nervous system. I speak a lot about this because truly what cures, treats, and heals a person is their autonomic nervous system. Now this is from 35 years of practice and using some technology to measure the autonomic nervous system before and after. And let me tell you, the autonomic nervous system is really where it's at if you want to heal and resolve health issues. So there's two parts of the autonomic nervous system. And first off, the autonomic nervous system sounds like automatic. It is the automatic side of your brain that runs and regulates everything. It's actually what heals you. But the two parts, sympathetic side of your nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is the fight or flight side that tends to increase heart rate, increase blood pressure, tighten down your blood vessels, and give you lots of adrenaline to get out of a stressful situation like driving on the freeway. Or maybe it's a fight with your spouse or at work or something of that sort. Or maybe you're yelling at your kids. Not that you would do that, but I would do that. So fight or flight, sympathetic nervous system. Most people are predominantly on that side of their nervous system. And the other side, which is the really critical side, in my opinion, is called the parasympathetic nervous system. Parasympathetic. It's also known as the rest and digest side of your nervous system. Calming, decreased heart rate, decreased blood pressure, rest and digest. Major control and regulation of your digestive tract. Phenomenal nervous system. Now, a branch of this parasympathetic rest and digest side of your nervous system is called the vagus nerve. And the major branches that I like to speak of are what's in the carotid triangle. For those of you that are online or you're listening via podcast, it's right here it's in your neck, just below your jawline on the right and left side. And there's a big muscle called your sternocleidomastoid muscle. It's the muscle that rotates your head and sticks out here in the front. You can see it when you rotate your head one side. So it's just to the inside of that. Your vagus nerve is just to the inside of that. Maybe you've heard of the sleeper hold, or law enforcement used to calm people down, actually put them to sleep with this particular move that I don't think they do this anymore. But certainly in ultimate fighting, mixed martial arts, they have a rear naked choke that does put people to sleep because of that vagus nerve. You massage the vagus nerve, you calm or relax, and you can go to sleep. This is what we're going to talk about, because the vagus nerve, what it does, this is what I'm wanting to really get to. Imagine that it controls your eyes, it controls your salivary glands, controls your heart, both dilation and constriction, by the way, of your eyes, blood vessel control. The parasympathetic or vagus nerve relaxes, dilates your blood vessels, controls heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, immune system. Huge for your overall health and wellness. It's also involved with anti-inflammatory processes in the body, also genetic expression. So the real thing to look at, are you getting a sense how essentially important your vagus nerve or parasympathetic nerve system is to your body and your health? So let me expound this. Let me talk a little bit more about this. I'd like to talk about testing. Now, certainly if you were to check, because everybody today is about metrics, right? You always want to kind of be your own doctor and just see where your body's at. So we have all sorts of gadgetry, including like an Apple Watch. I don't know if you can see that. Apple Watch and all these Fitbits and things like that that test your heart rate and all sorts of things. Your pulse ox, and now the Apple Watch can do an EKG, a single lead EKG. So great things to use, but here's the thing. Heart rate, just looking at heart rate alone. If your heart rate's too fast, it's too high, then you're more into sympathetic stress mode, which fits with what we just had mentioned about your sympathetic nervous system. If your heart rate's too low, you're very parasympathetically dominant. What about your gag reflex? That's another thing. If your gag reflex is absent, missing, like if you were to put a straw or just a spoon to the back of your throat and there's no gag reflex, it means that your parasympathetic or vagus nerve is not working so well. That's another good way. Blood pressure. Blood pressure also is, if your blood pressure is too high, then your sympathetic nerve system is more in control. If your blood pressure is too low, then your parasympathetic is more dominant there. And constriction of your eyes can be more sympathetic, whereas dilation, having big, huge pupils, can be more parasympathetic. Those are some preliminary things that you can look at to really kind of see where your body's at. Now, the one testing that I have loved and have used for over 27 years is called heart rate variability. Heart rate variability. This is an EKG-based test. One to distinguish that between what's available and it's dirt cheap, which is pulse rate based. Not the same thing. Truly, heart rate variability, which has come about actually in the 1950s. And what it's been used for is to find elite athletes that are going to be amazing for Olympic competition. Heart rate variability demonstrates heart function, but more importantly, your autonomic nervous system, where it's at. So I've been using this for 27 years, and what I've discovered, this is what's so interesting to me, is that people that have dreadful illness, and this is the type of patients that I mostly see, I do functional medicine, people that have dreadful illness have dreadful autonomic nervous system problems. People that have great health have great balance and great autonomic nervous system function. So there has to be a connection there. That's what I've discovered. And in looking at that, do you think that that might make a difference if we can improve somebody's autonomic nervous system? Over the years, what I've discovered is that we always see people with low parasympathetic vagus nerve function, vagus nerve tone, and their sympathetic nervous system typically is too high. Classic state of most everybody, at least in Southern California. If you drive the freeway, you're going to be predominantly in sympathetic mode. People have lots of digestive issues, and at the deepest causal level, you might want to look at the autonomic nervous system. Now, it's one thing to look at it, but can you do something to change it and improve it, which is what I'm all about. If we can put you into a mode of let's getting your body to heal and improving your vagus nerve function, your parasympathetic, and bring it up, guess what? What I've discovered over 27 years of doing this particular testing, everybody improves dramatically in their health. So, important question, what if I can't improve someone's autonomic nervous system, or their vagus nerve basically? Do you think that might impact their health and healing? Absolutely it will. Because my goal is to get someone to heal and resolve. Now, is this a substitute for medical health care? No, it's not. Medical doctors are not about getting a person to heal. What they do is they treat disease. A very important distinction there. Do I treat disease? No. Ultimately, what truly cures, treats, and heals a person is themselves, and it's all controlled and regulated by this special autonomic nervous system, and then you have those special branches called the vagus nerve. Pretty darn important there. So then what improves the vagus nerve? What improves your autonomic nervous system function, specifically parasympathetic? What's going to bring that up? Deep breathing does. Maybe you've heard of a guy named Wim Hof. Look him up on YouTube. Really amazing guy at what he does. Deep breathing is critical because if you have too much stress, which most people do, driving on the freeway, commute, you're on the freeway, go in the morning, hour and a half to work and an hour and a half home, sometimes longer. You are in sympathetic predominant, sympathetic stress mode. Parasympathetic is not even hardly there. Being facetious. It's there, but it's just not in control. So what you'll notice with that is that predominantly people in sympathetic stress mode, their breathing is super shallow. They don't breathe much. They don't breathe very deeply. So deep breathing, I recommend doing 20 deep breaths twice a day. Why is this so helpful? Because you have autonomic nerves that line the surface of your lungs and also inside your heart. So deep breathing really improves that connection, that brain connection. It improves the sensitivity of your autonomic nervous system. And it's interesting, we take someone who's been in their life for quite a while and they're stressed and they're kind of beaten down and they're having all these health issues going on. We have them for the first time take a super deep breath. They're like, oh my gosh, that was so amazing to their body and their health. They said, I can't, it gave them goosebumps. They couldn't believe it. And they even got a little bit, what they thought was a little bit dizzy, but they thought, wow, afterwards it was so amazing. So deep breathing, 20 deep breaths twice a day. And if you want to get into and look up Wim Hof, amazing guy. He's done some pretty amazing things just with doing breathing. So look up Wim Hof. Deep breathing is phenomenal. Gargling, number two. Number two way that you can stimulate your vagus nerve is gargling with water. Most people take a shower in the morning. Take a shower, get some water in your mouth, and gargle for a good 30 seconds to a minute. First off, you go, wow, a minute's too long. So start off with 20, 30 seconds of gargling. Be careful you don't choke yourself, because at first it's not going to work so well. You'll be surprised at how well or how poorly it works, your gargling reflex. You want to stimulate your vagus nerve control of your throat. And maybe you know there's some conditions involved with problems going on in your throat, in the back of your throat, like what? Oh, people stop breathing at night, and the people snore. And to me, that's a depiction of lack of or diminished vagus nerve control. Cold water, the one that you hate, and this is number three. This is the thing that you will not like to do. Some people call it a polar dip, or it's you're in the shower and you flip that shower immediately to ice cold. And you might make a noise, scream a little bit. You will not like it in the beginning, but what it does to your autonomic nervous system is pretty darn amazing. Cold water. Some people do a full dip. There's all sorts of videos out there on Instagram and TikTok about people in a tub outside in their backyard. It's full of ice, and they jump into it, get in their bathing suit and jump into it quickly and stay there. And then they'll put their head underneath and they're like, wow, refreshed. I guess it's absolutely life-changing. I don't have a tub of water in my backyard, so I haven't tried that, but I've tried the cold showers. It is not fun, but it will definitely make an impact on your full body health because it affects your autonomic nervous system in a good way. Now, what I do here in the office to improve vagal nerve or parasympathetic function, one of them is called biocranial. So back in the day, when I first got what's called heart rate variability, I could tell people had big problems in their autonomic nervous system, right? Parasympathetic vagus nerve, really low functioning. And I tried everything under the sun that I could search for and discover to try to improve it. And for 6 years, I could not improve the results of that exam until I ran into something that was called biocranial. So I read in a journal that said if 80% of the nervous system is above the spine, what are you doing about that, doctor? So I'm like, oh, this could be it. Wow, I was really excited. So I took my technology with me, my testing with me, and I said, okay, if you can change the results of this particular test, I will do your work. And guess what? It does it every time, surprisingly so. Parasympathetic comes up, sympathetic comes down. Beautiful, beautiful thing to do. Biocranial. Imagine laying on your back on a table, and I bring your head up and around, kind of like a up and forward stretch at an angle, kind of up and around a spiral staircase. And then there's a very specific contact that I make to the back of the skull, And it's a very precise vector or direction that we do this really deep stretch, and we do it on both sides. This shifts your autonomic nervous system in a great, great way. Phenomenal, phenomenal thing to do. I've seen such dramatic changes in full body health that I could spend an hour or two just talking about that. The next thing that shifts your autonomic nervous system is called high voltage pulsed electromagnetic fields, or high voltage PEMF. Critical high voltage really makes the difference. This really changes things. So what we do in the office, we do biocranial as well as charging up the brain. I like to call it cell exercise because it's exactly what it does. It just exercises the cells and it charges tissues up. So we put that on the frontal lobes in the brain. We also put it on the backside right at your brain stem where you have really rich and parasympathetic nerve supply. And what happens? The autonomic nervous system improves pretty dramatically. Also, and now, this is the newest thing that I'm bringing into the office. Now, I haven't introduced it yet because I've been testing it. Why? Because I'm skeptical and very analytical. I want to make sure that it actually does something. And it's called a vagus nerve stimulator. Now, that's what it does. I'm not going to tell you yet the brand of it, but imagine a device that's about the size of a pack of cigarettes, because I'm sure a lot of you out there smoke. But it's a small unit, about yay big. It's about 3 inches long by 2 inches wide, and about maybe an inch thick. And it has two prongs, two stainless steel probes at the top of it that we put on a conducting electrolyte gel, very specific gel you have to use with this. And what you do, and I'm going to bring it out and show you for those that are on YouTube. First off, let me just show you the case. Here's the case. Not going to show you the name, not yet. I want to make sure it works. But my preliminary testing has been phenomenal. Here it is. Again, not showing you the front of it. There's a power button on the front, and here's the two stainless steel probes. Put some gel on there, and what you do is you put it right on your vagus nerve, right in the front part of your neck, just inside of your trapezius muscle, and you would turn it on, you turn up the intensity to a certain level, and you would charge this. You would let it go for about 2.5 minutes. It'll go beep, 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 it's done. And you want to do it also one more time. Repeat that process, put some gel on, do it again, and beep, beep, it's done. And you want to do that in the morning, and you also want to do it at night for wellness. Now, my preliminary testing with this has been very surprising because I don't believe everything that I read and hear. I like to put it to the test first. What I've discovered, I have a home heart rate variability unit that I use at home to measure my autonomic nervous system. And this kind of the scale for it, it's like 0 to 10. 0, you'd be dead. I've seen actually a 1 before, so a person having a 1, but 10 is the best. And since I've done this charging like this, every day I've done the charging, the next morning I'm always at 10. So that's pretty darn phenomenal. So I'm really, really excited about this. Why? Because it's actually FDA approved for a condition called migraine headaches. Maybe you've heard of that. Maybe you're experiencing migraine headaches. It crushes migraine headaches. It's absolutely amazing for it. Now, in my case, since we do functional medicine, we're taking care of all sorts of health issues. I'm completely off-label, if you want to say, or not that use. I'm using it for other things because I have a very great concept and idea and understanding of the autonomic nervous system. So the higher, again, what I've discovered in 27 years of doing this testing, everybody's parasympathetic is too low. So the higher we can raise it up, the better, and the better a person's going to heal, bottom line. So with that being said, I'm going to continue doing testing on this device, and I'm going to launch it very soon. I also have a recent case of trigeminal neuralgia. Trigeminal neuralgia. This is, imagine someone coming up to you on the side of your face and stabbing you with an ice pick. It's a horrible condition There have been even people that have committed suicide because of trigeminal neuralgia. Some other people have had actually brain surgery to try to solve it, and it doesn't work. Nothing seems to work unless you're on really heavy medication, and even that doesn't work to a great extent. Guess what happens? I've been using this on someone with trigeminal neuralgia because, unfortunately, in science today, they don't really know what causes it. Your trigeminal nerve is a nerve that controls your dental region. It goes into your face, controls your upper and lower dental regions. But imagine you get these electric shock stabbing pains in your face that just drives you nuts. What I've discovered, when you get high sympathetic, you have stress, it fires off. Boom, 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 boom. It could just be awful. When we can bring the parasympathetic up, it shuts it down. So really, really exciting with this to a person who's just been tortured with this and is actually doing very, very well. But again, please remember, the vagus nerve is involved with all organ systems in your body. So what condition can't be helped? That's another good question to think about. What condition can't be helped if we can improve someone's autonomic nervous system? Bringing the parasympathetic nerve system higher, also known as the vagus nerve. And if we do that, naturally your sympathetic nerve system comes down. People get really relaxed. Interesting, when I put this on this person, the first time and subsequent times, immediately this person goes, and they just really like, eyes closed, almost melting, almost going to sleep. It's pretty darn amazing. So what it does, it introduces a little bit of electrical current with this at a certain frequency. Amazing stuff, really amazing stuff. So if you need help and you want to heal, I'd love to hear from you. You can contact me at draugustine@gmail.com. That's my email address, draugustine@gmail.com. Or you can reach out to my office. My phone number is 562-860-3404. And if you like this content, please give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe to my channel, because this is the stuff that I love to talk about. I'm also on social media, Instagram, TikTok, as well as YouTube. Give me a follow there. Podcasting. This is also made into a podcast as well. So I'm on Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Please follow me there and give me a like. I'd much appreciate it. It really, really helps out the channel. And again, my name is Dr. Augustine from Ahead to Wellness, and we will see you next week. Have a great, great day.